Welcome to the Brass and Woodwind Shop. This video is going to be about diagnosing problems with trombone slides. If you want to see videos on how to fix the problems on trombone slides, look in the description below for links to those videos. There are 6 common problems that cause trombone slides to not work well, and often trombone slides will have more than one of these things wrong with them. The most common problem on trombone slides is that the slides get dirty. Every trombone that comes into my shop for slide work, I clean the slide on it. I usually use the chemicals to clean the slides, but sometimes chemicals are not needed, and in that case I only use the cleaning rod, but I always use the cleaning rod when I clean trombone slides. The reason that I clean every slide is sometimes the lubrication can mask the problem so that it's harder to feel what the problem is, and other times if it's dirty, that can cause the problem too, and sometimes just cleaning the slide solves the problem. But usually the problem goes beyond cleaning and there is another problem with it. Either way, it is a good idea to clean the slide though. The second common problem is that a slide can get a dent in it. What a dent usually feels like is a slide will work fine and then it will stop working for a little while and then it will start working again. Or if the dent is bad enough, the slide will have problems over the whole length of the slide. Usually you can see a dent just by looking at the slide, but if you cannot see it, you can always feel it. And just take your hand and feel down the length of the slide, and you can always feel the dent that way. After you've cleaned the slide and checked for dents, the next thing to do is figure out which of the slides are causing the problem. What you do is you take apart the slide and then try the slides individually. Try the top slide individually and see how that works. And then try the bottom slide and do the same thing. And then try the opposite slides. Try the upper and the lower, like that, and the other way around. That way you can see which combination of slides, if any, are causing the problems. Just one note on that, some trombones are dual bore. They have different sizes of bore on the upper slides than they do on the lower side. If that's the case, you cannot test the opposite slides. You can only test the upper to the upper slide and the lower to the lower slide. The third problem is that slides can be bent. This is far more common than you may think, and also it can happen to any one of the slides, or it can happen to any combination of the 4 slides. It could be all 4 that are bent. The bend does not need to be large for it to cause a problem. It can be a very small bend and still cause a problem in how the slide works. To diagnose this problem, you need a fluorescent light in your shop, and you stand about 10 feet away from it. You take the slide and hold it up to the fluorescent light, and you close one eye. With the other eye, you look down the slide, right on the top, and you look for 2 parallel lines of light reflecting off of the slide. If the 2 lines of light are straight, then the slide is straight, and if the 2 lines of light curve one direction or the other, then the slide is bent in that direction. You rotate the slide 90 degrees and check it again, and you do the same with both of the slides. And then you take the inner side tubes and you do the same with that. The slide does not need to be bent very much for it not to work well. Even a small bend will cause it not to work. The fourth problem, slides that are not parallel. If these are your 2 slides, instead of being parallel, they will be like this or like this. This problem is far more common with the inner slide than it is with the outer slide. The way to check is hold the inner slide loosely over the outer side and see if the slides match up. And if they do not match up, then they are not parallel. The slides can either be too close together like this, or it can be the other way. The slides can be too far apart. But either way, they are not parallel. This problem can also occur on outer slides, but it's not nearly as common. You need to use a caliper to diagnose this problem. You check one side of the slide, and then you check the other side. The upper part of the trombone slide has a larger diameter, and that's called a stocking. You need to make sure that you check below that, where the diameter of the trombone slide is the same as it is down here. So check that, and if it is the same, then they are parallel. If the sizes are different, then it is not parallel. Usually, if the outer slide is not parallel, it will be caused by dents in the crook, and what will happen is when it gets dented, it spreads the crook apart farther, so this part of the slide will be larger than this part of the slide. That's usually what causes the problem, but not always. The fifth problem, slides that are skewed. Instead of looking like this, they will look like this. Almost always this problem will be on the inner slide. And about the only way it can happen on the outer slide is if the slide has been soldered together and it has not been soldered together correctly. There are 3 different ways to check for this problem. One of them is hold the slide up in front of you and close one eye, and with the other eye look down and make sure that these slides are even with each other, and then hold the slide still and don't move your head, just move your eye and look up to the top. Check to see if the slides are even with each other on the top. And if they are not, then the slide is skewed. Another way is take the inner slide and put it over one of the slide tubes and lay it next to the other, and then check from here to here and see if there's the same amount of gap on the slide. The third way is to use a flat surface, and I have a granite block that I use for that purpose. Lay the slide on there, hold one of the slides down, and tap the other side. I know this slide is skewed because there's a gap between the block and the slide. The 6th problem that's not nearly as common, but it does happen, is the slides can be either too narrow or too wide in reference to the other slide. Usually what happens is the slide works well from about 3rd position on out, but you get to 2nd position and the slide gets stiff, and then you get to 1st position and the slide gets even more stiff. The way to diagnose this problem is pull the slide out a little bit and look at the inner slides in reference to the outer slides. If the inner slides look like they are pushing against the tubes on the outer slides, either on the inside or on the outside, then you may have this problem. Usually this problem only occurs when there's been some solder work done to this brace or to this brace. I'm going to draw a picture of what it looks like from this perspective. Here are the outer slide tubes. And if you look at the inner side tubes, they will look like this. The reason they look like that is the side tubes will be in too far, or possibly it could be the other way around. They could be out too far, in which case it will look like this. If either of those things occur, what happens is the inner side tubes are pushing on the outer side tubes. This has been a quick video, and I've not been able to discuss how to repair these problems. For links to the videos about how to repair these problems, look in the description below. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more band instrument repair videos.